ownership. Our history is there and the rest can't change it. Schools don't teach it. Seek it is sacred.
My mum always told me, like, don't need to kill him, just put him someone else. And I'm English, yeah, I'm a bit of a rat now, I think. But obviously I work in the garden, so I'll get over that thing. But then I've noticed this thing in the last like 4 years where I can almost, I'm like, there's a spider there. Spider. So I just wanted to see what you think about the spider sense, because they didn't really put that in the film.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't. And that was what the oscillation was on his logo. Because in addition to that, if you look at the logo, you can actually see that it's actual Spider-Man in his body also. There's different facets. Let me pull it back up real quick. So if you look, it's like a head, shoulders, you know, chest right there as well. And like I said, these lines, you know, they got to look like legs. It's really oscillations. So yeah, they didn't get into the spider sense, but spiders do have an extrasensory sense, extrasensory perception, where in the comics, Spider-Man knows danger is going to happen before it comes. Like we was just talking about fear and danger. It's not that Spider-Man's scared. He knows danger's close. It triggers something. That's the same thing that's supposed to happen to us when we're in a dangerous situation. It triggers something so we can be prepared to deal with the danger, you know? And yeah, so.
Basically, when I'm sensing the spider, is it sending the signal my way or am I sending it its way?
Both. Y'all resonating with one another. Because think about it, as much as you're scared of that spider, you're about 100 times the size. Could you imagine if you walked outside and there was a 1,000-foot, hairy, 8-eyed spider there drooling, walking by? Like you'd be stuck. You'd be underneath somewhere cowering so that thing passes by. But they so gangster with it that even though they know they're in danger, they like, man, bring it. I'll drop you.
I want the same attitude if I wanted that. You know what, I'm out this morning, but
don't make me.
Like you said,
see, both of y'all, that's just like camaraderie. Y'all just eye to eye. Like, you stay there, I'll stay here.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. That's it.
Yes.
I don't know if this is the right question, but why would they spend millions or hundreds of millions of pounds to give us such powerful information?
Because they know the powerful information ain't for you, it's for them. They communicate amongst each other with it. They don't think you even know that that's going on because you too busy going ooh and ah. You see what I'm saying? But it's the news, you know, so it's a way to, you know, like with the newspaper, notice is served. Like, you can't just like criminalize somebody, bang on somebody, or come at somebody in a certain way. First you gotta serve notice. That happens in the newspapers a lot. So it's the same thing with films. They serve notice. They like, here you go. Don't say I ain't told you. And then when 10 years pass by, like in the movie, there was a movie with Denzel that came out near the end of the 90s where they broke the whole World Trade Center thing down, said the towers were closed and all that in there. You know what I'm saying? And about 2-3 years later, they drop. So we get these films where they give us the heads up that certain things are about to pop off, and if you don't pay attention to it, that's just on you.
So these stories that they're telling from back in the day is to tell themselves.
Some is to tell themselves, but this is where I come from with it. They are vessels, and there's an all-pervasive energy, and there's things you need to know. And if the universe knows you watch movies, and when you sit down and watch films, that's when you're not thinking this, not thinking that, and you can receive something, they're going to give it to you. What's the best way to get billions of people to get on the same accord at the same time? Let them sit down and watch a movie. They're going to all see the same thing, they're going to feel the same emotions, they're going to see the same pictures. They might break it down slightly differently, but you're going to get the same sustenance from it. So I think, you know, as diabolical as people in these positions are, look, I'm not giving them that much power where I'm going to say they're dictating how the universe is going to turn out in the future. They're just affecting things in the now. But even them, as egotistical as they are, they're not in control. They still have to follow certain rules, certain obligations, which means there's somebody over them. You know, and there's somebody over all of us. So that's why the film is just something different, because there's really no filter up in there. It's going to come out, you know?
And money.
I skipped you, I'm sorry. I was supposed to be next.
kind of on the same level as this young man just stated, because you've got the history, you've got the science in the movie, and you said we don't, when it's going over our head when we watch it, but you said when we go to sleep, we're getting it. Can you just expand on that?
Well, when I say when we go to sleep, we get it. If you're not conscious that you're watching films that contain information, you have a certain vibe towards that receptivity, then whatever influence they might want to put in that film will affect you in your subconscious mind. 24 frames a second used to be the standard in animation, meaning you would have to draw 24 pictures in sequence to equate to 1 second of motion. So you can imagine how many pictures is in a minute, in an hour. That's why Looney Tunes were cartoon shorts. Because them cats was drawing, painting, like it was work. You know, it's computed now. But when you see things like Avatar, 60 frames a second. When you saw Quicksilver running like that, that was like 600 frames a second or something like that. To just show all the motion and fluidity that's involved in there. If you look at the average film, they splice symbols in between frames because you're not going to see it. If I'm doing 24 frames a second and I want to put a nude scene or some drugs or some other suggestion on the 22nd frame, you're not going to see that. Your subconscious catches every frame though, so it's going to store it. So when you jump up and say, I need some popcorn, it's because they just hit you with a popcorn ad 20 times and you didn't even know it. Or a hot dog, or your mouth starts drooling. You're like, you just get mad, you know, because they just showed like some celebrity or something you can't stand. You know what I mean? Like, man, the only person who makes me mad is Tom Cruise, but he ain't even in the movie. They put it in between. You know what I'm saying? So they put this stuff in between there because we don't pick up each and every frame fluidity. That's how I can get a piece of paper with a paragraph where only every word, only the first letter and the last letter is right, but the middle letters are jumbled. You'll read right through it because your brain will make up for it. All right? You got these, if you go to like these electronic shops, they got these clocks where they spin around and there's lights on it and they make up an image as they spin. You pick that up because your brain is like a Rubik's Cube. It puts things together. You know, so the same thing happens with the subconscious on the other side. They can slide things into these films and affect you in certain ways. You know, and then you get stuff like the Batman shooter, and Born Identity, and all that crazy stuff. You know.
So can I just ask? So what they're actually doing is directly sending out energy that your subconscious mind can pick up. Those people who are not aware that that's the atomic bomb. You know, it mutes them, so they'll act it out. They'll go out, they'll play it out. So it's a deliberate act then.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so I want to know.
It's called a Hegelian dialectic. Problem, response, solution. You want a bunch of people to do something and you know it's like off the chain and someone's going to say no. Like if you're a kid, if you want to ask your mom to go outside and you know you did something bad, she's going to say no. So you think, and you like, if I do this, then she'll do that. And then she'll be like, get out. And then I can go outside. You see what I'm saying? So that's what problem, response, solution is. They already want a certain outcome, but they don't ask you outright for it. They do things to trigger a reaction that leads to the only alternative being them getting their way.
Okay, so if you're a conscious being then and you're aware of the energy that they're putting out, you can always nillify, you can always, nullify that because you're aware. I mean, something that I would do, I would ask, because I know I'm not alone, I would ask, okay, the creative mother then, the mother that covers this reality, is there anything that I can do to transform?
But that goes in your subconscious mind too. Like I'm talking to two of y'all when y'all sitting here. There's a conscious part of you that is engaged with me and following every point I'm saying. Then it's that skeptic guy. It's that subconscious back there like, but still taking it all in. You see? And when you lay down or when you go to do something, it's putting all that stuff together. And the next time you go see a movie, you read a book, it's going to come forth. People go, yeah, I'm going to teach something, and then it lines up. So it's almost a defense mechanism that I'm trying to put out here for everybody, because if you're aware of it, then something that you're not supposed to know can't affect you because you know now.
Yeah, because you just said Iron Man. I know Ugun is the god of iron.
Yeah.
So I don't know who he is.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't have to deal with Iron Man. I can go to the sky to deal with it and with the ancestors, need your energy.
And you'll get great wealth because Tony Stark is a billionaire.
Yeah.
Because he deals with Ogun.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you, Robert Downey Jr. was a super failure in Hollywood. I don't know if y'all know that, but he comes from the John Hughes, what is it, Breakfast Club, Weird Science era, the teeny bopper era, where he was a child star that was doing the drugs and getting caught up in all that stuff. He got caught butt naked with a loaded gun and like scotch. So he got locked up. Like Robert Downey Jr. he was way in jail, and then he came out and he got blacklisted. You saw him in like The Fugitive 2, U.S. Marshal. He was the bad guy. The Zodiac Killer. He bad guy. Like every movie he was in, he was the bad guy. They was like pushed him to the side. Marvel stuck their neck out and gave him another job. He's channeling Ogun now, and he's the biggest dude on the planet. If Robert Downey Jr. walks down the street anywhere in the world, people going crazy. Because regardless of who like Marvel and who don't like Marvel, if anybody watches any movie, they watch Iron Man. Because he got all the technical gadgets, he's paid, he got money, it's fast paced, and then he's an Aries. So it's easy to engage, But he's channeling, like, the funny thing about deities is they don't discriminate.
No.
Whoever calls their name and makes the offering, they're going to bless.
Yeah.
So you can acquiesce and not call his name all you want. Robert Downey Jr. will, and he will continue to use the arc reactor laughing all the way to the bank. And he's Spider-Man's daddy now. Like, how'd that happen? Yes.
I was wondering if you can just touch on the electricity in our body.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to be getting into that a lot more tomorrow. But the body is electric, and how we deal with energy is by way of light through our eyes, as we saw with Spider-Man with the eye being the main motif. Because eyes are what are able to let our internal body know about what's going on in an external environment. Yeah, we get pressure, we get wind, but the light, because the sun is going to tell us. The sun gets up, it's a certain type of intensity. At 6:30, at 9, at 12, at 2, at 5, at 8, at midnight, right? Also, at those times of the days, you're going to make cholecystokinin, or you're going to make bile, or you're going to make secretin, or you're going to make pancreatic lymphates, or you're going to make DHA. These are the times of day you're going to make these things, but it's based on the time of day. Your body doesn't have a Swatch watch inside. But what you do have sitting behind your eyes is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is your biological clock attached to your eyes. So as the light comes in and hits the SN, it tells your hypothalamus what's popping outdoors, so the hypothalamus can then tell the body what to do. You see? But if you're looking at a computer screen at 2 in the morning, that screen is the same as the sun at noon. Now you think it's 12 o'clock at 2 in the morning, and you sleep, but you wake up tired because you never rested. You see? So, don't worry. I got some electricity tomorrow. Don't you worry about that.
You said about electromagnetic forces. Someone told me like the top of the eye also represents Omega. The Omega, is that right? Or?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the Omega sign there, and then the bottom of it can be the Alpha. I mean, there's so many breakdowns of the Ankh. That's why it's called, it represents life. Everything you break it down into represents like a definition of what life stands for. The most known is the unification of all the reproductive parts of man and women, womb, phallus, fallopian, brothers that will come back to you though, yeah.
Yeah, first I'd like to give thanks for their presentation.
Oh,
I like
thank
the
you,
way
brother.
you broke down the science, it was simplified, and you see that the kids was engaging, so that was
Oh,
good.
birthday,
And that's what their
thank
kids
y'all
need.
so much, man,
Yeah.
for real.
And that's what they need. And secondly, you spoke about sky rats. You said that
Benzoine gum.
Yo, niggas make a little pay, now they feel they made it. Still rock chains and whips, still on a slave ship. Our history is there and the rest can't change it. Schools don't teach it, seek it is sacred. Honor thy mother and father is the basics. Rise like you're supposed to slip out the matrix. Still dumbstruck thinking this is entertainment. Escape to reality, most lives are wasted.